Hi, I'm Carrie Cozell, and today I'll be showing you how to wrap the arm for lymphedema wrapping. We'll do both the left and the right side. This video is for the patients at TurningPoint Women's Healthcare in Alpharetta, Georgia. So first I'm going to give you a look at the supplies we're using. Your physical therapist will have given you the exact sizes that you need. Today we'll be using a 10, an 8, and a 6 centimeter, but your sizes may vary. We'll also be using the Artiflex, which is just the cottony wrapping. We'll be using the stockinette to help protect the skin. We have the finger wrapping, and then also the tape. The tape that we'll be using is athletic tape, which helps stick a little bit better than something like paper tape. You can just buy it at any pharmacy. So we'll start by putting on the stockinette. Your PT may have cut a hole already in it for you, or you can do that at home. Just snip a little hole for the thumb. You're going to slide it all the way up the arm. And this is really just designed to protect the skin as you're wrapping from the bandaging. So we'll start with the finger wrapping. So what you want to start by doing is just anchoring it around the wrist. You're just going to run 2 or 3 times around. It's just to help hold it in place. You can start with either the pinky or the thumb, it doesn't really matter. You're going to come to the base of the finger and wrap up. You want to cover back over about half of the distance of the bandage each time you come up. And I'm keeping tension on the bandage, but I'm not pulling too tightly. When you get up to just underneath the nail, you're going to cross over and come back down. And each time it's important that you come across the top of the hand instead of going underneath. So I'm going to come around the wrist again and then over to the next finger. Same technique. Wrapping up. Just underneath the nail and then crossing back down. It's important to keep it as smooth as you can and prevent wrinkles. We'll wrap around the wrist and come to the next finger. All the way underneath the nail and then back down again. If you'll hold here for me, we'll just grab some more. again, back over the top of the hand and to the thumb. It's important to cover all areas of the skin so that you don't get any pockets of swelling. So now at this point what you want to do is make a fist and check for any holes. If you have the little pockets, you want to go back over and fill those areas in. Same technique, however, you're going to loop around the wrist and fill in any of those spaces. And we'll check one more time. We have still one right there. And relax. And if you'll hold here. So it's important to notice now that we're done, there isn't any bandaging across the palm of the hand, that each time we looped we came across the back of the hand. So we'll just use a strip of the athletic tape to hold it in place. The fingers will turn a little bit of a gray color. If you just pump your fist and keep them moving, that'll help get that fluid out. So the next step is to use the Artiflex, which comes in the wrapping. The Artiflex is really just to pad the arm and help keep the arm as much of a cylinder as we can. So this area is smaller than the upper arm, so we'll just pad this area. How you put this on doesn't matter too much. You're not really worried about any tension with this. Again, it's more just about trying to get the arm to be a cylinder. And again, use a piece of tape. So we're going to start with the smallest bandage that you have. You may have a 4, you may have a 6. We're just going to start with the smallest one. It's important to remember that lymphedema wrapping bandages are different from ACE bandages. So you want to make sure that you keep them separated from those so you don't accidentally mix them up. They come with ways to attach them, but because they're sharp on the ends, and it poses a risk of digging into the skin, it's better to just use the tape. So we'll start just like we did before with the finger wrapping, and we'll anchor it around the wrist 2 or 3 times. It's important that you're pulling so that the roll is on the top as opposed to rolling it with it underneath. Make sure that you take note which direction you're starting. Really doesn't matter which way, but we're going to switch that direction with the next bandage. So we'll just anchor it a couple times. And we're going to come up the hand. As you're coming up through the hand, to prevent wrinkles, you can fold it up just a little bit. Depending on the size of the space here. just want to come to kind of about knuckle level so that all of the fingers are free. Once the hand is done, you can start up the arm. And I'm keeping a constant tension across the bandage, but I'm not trying to pull too tight. And same method here, we're just going to cover about half the distance of the bandage each time. So if you'll hold here. And we'll just apply the piece of tape. So the next step for your next size bandage, in our case it's the 8-centimeter bandage. What you want to do is feel through the arm and go until you feel sort of a squishy, soft area. So here it's pretty firm, we're firm, and then it gives a little bit more here. So that's going to be the spot where we start our next bandage. So because last time we started this direction, now we're going to flip and go the other direction, coming around this way. So we'll feel for that spot right here, how it gives more. And we'll anchor again just like before, 2 or 3 times around. And then we'll continue up the arm the same way as before. Just keeping a constant pressure. Now as you get closer to the elbow, you want to keep an eye. So if you'll bend your arm for me. So our elbow is right here, because our technique will change just a little bit when we get up to the elbow. Right here. Okay, so now that we're up to the elbow, what we're going to do is called a figure 8. So we're going to come up a little bit higher so that here is her elbow. Come back down, so we're making a figure 8. And then we'll finish our wrapping. The important part of doing that is so that then she'll be able to bend her elbow once she's fully wrapped. You want to wrap with that elbow straight. Now each time you go back over the elbow, you just wrap like before. It's just the very first time that you need to do the figure 8. We'll tape it on. So our last bandage is our 10-centimeter bandage. Yours may be a different size, and that's fine. It's just the largest of your bandages. So again, we'll feel up the arm until we get to an area that's softer. So it starts about here. It'll be different each time, kind of depending where the fluid is, so you'll just need to feel. And again, I'm going to switch the direction, so I'll start back again this way. So same thing, we're going to anchor just as before. And then we'll start back up the arm. Same thing, I'm just maintaining an even pressure on the bandage. And once you get to the larger size, you're not going to need to wrap up an entire half distance of the bandage. You can see it's a little bit smaller now that the bandage is so large. Ultimately, what you want to happen is that it ends just up underneath the armpit so that they can bend the arm, and you've wrapped all the way up. You want to be pushing the fluid all the way up from the hand, all the way up the arm and out. If you have a fourth bandage, depending on the size and length of your arm, you would just apply that fourth bandage with the exact same principle. You'd feel for the soft area, start there, anchor it in place, and then wrap up. You're going to fold down the stockinette, and you're done. So that is the left arm wrapping. And your wearing time will vary depending on what your PT has asked. And also there may be, you may be asked to place foam in certain areas depending on your particular lymphedema, but this is just the general wrapping, and we'll go ahead and show the right arm as well.